My dad's mistress texted me on New Year's Eve, and I had to be the one to expose the affair. So as the title says, my dad's 44 mistress 40s texted me early 20s last night on New Year's Eve. I'm mostly here to vent because I don't feel like anyone in my real life can really relate to this right now. This is a throwaway, and I'm going to try not to make details obvious. It started when a stranger texted me asking if my dad was okay because she hadn't heard from him since Friday. I replied asking who she was, screenshot the messages, and sent them to my dad. At that point, I already had a bad feeling about where this was going, but I was basically giving him time to admit it. For context, my dad works on the road. He told me to ignore her, said she was crazy, that it was just someone he knew, and told me to block her and not tell my mom. Obviously, I didn't believe that. I had also never heard my dad sound so nervous in my life, TBH. I texted my sister, and 25, and found out that this same woman had messaged her months ago with similar stuff. Back then, my dad blamed it on his friend, 40s, who had been staying at our house after his own divorce, and told my sister the same story. So for a second, I wondered if maybe she really was. She wasn't. When I told her what my dad and sister said, she sent proof. Pictures of her and my dad together, Snapchat screenshots, photos of him sleeping in the same bed as her young child, 5'6", and messages showing they'd been together since June. Pictures of my child and nephews, all under 5-year-old, toddler, and my baby. She sent screenshots of him calling her name, our last name, asking her ring size, and said her daughter calls my dad daddy. That alone felt extremely uncomfortable, considering she's known him less than 6 months and he lives across the country. Seeing all of that completely shattered my view of my father. I always had suspicions he did stuff like this, but being faced with actual proof and being in the middle has been overwhelming. I saved everything and sent it to him. I'll admit part of me was being petty. He always said growing up that he hated liars, getting mad when I'd lie, and now he wanted me to lie for him. He still just said to ignore her and tried to call me again, but I didn't answer. Instead, I drove to my mom's 45 house because I wasn't going to tell her over the phone. She immediately knew something was wrong because it was 7 p.m., I live 30 minutes away, and I never just show up like that. I tried to delay telling her because I had asked her friend to come over first. I was scared to tell her alone and wanted her to have support that wasn't just her child. But she immediately said, "What did my husband do?" I gave her a brief rundown. She went into her bedroom, called him, and yelled at him over the phone, "What the fuck? You have 2 hours to get home if you even want to call this home anymore." He was working in the next state over and staying in an Airbnb. She was understandably heartbroken, asking the usual questions. If it was her fault, why, how long, etc. Then the mistress told me that my dad's mom knew about her, which made my mom call my dad again. He said he was on his way home and asked if his friend should come too since they work together. My mom said nope, and that his friend was no longer welcome in her home because he helped him hide it. I left shortly after because I didn't need to be there while my parents fought. I didn't leave my mom alone, her friend stayed with her. As of now, my mom is planning to try to work through it with him. Apparently this isn't the first time, just the first time the kids have been directly involved. As for me, my dad is no longer allowed to have pictures of my child on his phone. I don't know this woman, and I'm not okay with my child being involved in any of this. Especially without my consent or knowledge. I know this situation isn't about me, and my pain is secondary to my mom's, but it still hurts that my dad hasn't even apologized to me. My mom and even the mistress have apologized for putting me in the middle, but he hasn't said anything. I feel just sick and numb. And honestly, why weren't we enough to say no? So that's where I am. Happy fucking New Year. You're signed to not do laundry today. That was my first mistake yesterday. TLDR. My dad's mistress contacted me, sent proof of their affair, my dad tried to deny it, I had to tell my mom in person, everything blew up, and now I'm stuck in the middle feeling hurt and overwhelmed. ETA. She didn't text our numbers. She found me and my sister on social media and messaged by looking us up on my dad's friend's account because she knew our names and what we looked like because my dad showed her pictures of us. He told her he didn't have the specific social media she looked us up on.